Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a transit network that honestly puts the sprawling subways of New York or those endless LA highways to shame. We're talking about the human cardiovascular system, your body's ultimate internal city infrastructure. It's an absolute masterpiece of biological engineering that works relentlessly, second by second, to keep you alive. To really wrap our heads around the scale of this, think about this number. Blood makes up roughly 7% of your total body weight. So if you're an average adult weighing around 72 kilograms, you've got about 5.6 liters of this life-giving fluid constantly coursing through you. That's more than 2.5 large soda bottles worth of liquid. And your body has to continuously pump, filter, and circulate the whole shebang every single minute. Crazy, right? Here's our blueprint for this explainer. We'll start with the blood and its cargo, move on to the body's highway system, take a close look at the anatomy of the heart, and finally check out the heart's electrical grid. So what exactly is the cardiovascular system? At its core, it's a continuous closed-loop system made up of the heart, the blood vessels, and the blood itself. Its main gig is supplying vital oxygen and nutrients to your tissues while hauling away carbon dioxide and metabolic waste. Plus, it maintains homeostasis. Think of homeostasis like an incredibly vigilant internal thermostat, constantly tweaking things like your temperature and pH levels to keep your internal environment perfectly stable. Section 1. The blood and its cargo, the body's delivery fleet. You know, blood is incredibly dynamic. It doesn't just sit there. It actively delivers vital oxygen and nutrients, like glucose, amino acids, and vitamins, directly to the cells that need them. Just as importantly, it acts as a massive waste management system, carrying away carbon dioxide and urea. But wait, there's more. It's also a communication network transporting hormones, a fierce immune defense system, and get this, it even acts as its own repair crew. Through the clotting cascade, it makes sure a tiny paper cut doesn't turn into a crisis by quickly plugging up leaks. Okay, let's dive into this. It's fascinating to realize that blood isn't just liquid. It's absolutely packed with specialized cells born from stem cells in your bone marrow, constantly replenishing your delivery fleet. You've got erythrocytes, your red blood cells, which are the dedicated oxygen carriers. Then there are leukocytes, the white blood cells. These are your immune defenders, always on the hunt for harmful microorganisms. And finally, platelets, or thrombocytes. They're the specialized emergency response team that rushes in to form clots and patch up the system. Section 2. The body's highway system, navigating the transit network. There is a really sharp contrast in how this transit network is built. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Now, because the heart pumps with immense force, these are your high-pressure pipelines. Actually, that's exactly what you feel when you place 2 fingers on your wrist or neck to check your pulse. To handle all that stress, arteries need thick, muscular, and super elastic walls. Veins, on the flip side, carry blood back to the heart at a much lower pressure. Because of that, their walls are significantly thinner and less muscular. But listen, the arteries and veins are really just the major interstates. The actual door-to-door deliveries happen on microscopic side streets, the capillaries. These are tiny, extremely thin-walled vessels buried deep in your tissues and lungs. They're so thin, in fact, that they allow for the actual physical exchange of gases, nutrients, and water right into the surrounding cells. They're the absolutely crucial connection point where the high-pressure outbound system seamlessly transitions into the low-pressure return trip. Section 3. Anatomy of the heart, the central power plant. It's truly amazing to ground ourselves with a relatable scale here. Your heart is roughly the size of your closed fist. It's only about 12 centimeters long, 9 centimeters wide, and weighs maybe 250 to 300 grams on average. It just sits there, resting right on the diaphragm near the middle of your chest. Yet this relatively small, unassuming muscle does a monumental amount of work. It tirelessly acts as a dual pump for your entire life, literally never taking a single break. The walls of this power plant are built in 3 distinct layers. On the very outside, you have the epicardium, which acts as a protective shield. In the middle, there's the myocardium. This is the thick, beefy layer of actual cardiac muscle tissue that does all the heavy lifting and physical pumping. And then on the inside, the endocardium provides a perfectly smooth, friction-free surface for blood to just glide over as it moves through the chambers. Inside, the heart is divided into 4 main rooms. The top 2 are the atria. These are the receiving chambers. They have relatively thin walls because, well, their only job is to collect the blood coming back from the body or the lungs and just drop it down into the next level. The bottom 2 rooms are the ventricles. These are your powerhouses. They're the pumping chambers equipped with much thicker walls, specifically designed to forcefully launch blood out into those massive arterial networks we talked about earlier. So the crucial point here is a major structural difference. The left ventricle is the ultimate heavy lifter of the cardiovascular system. See, while the right ventricle only has to push blood a short distance next door to the lungs, the left ventricle has to pump blood at a massive pressure to reach the absolute farthest distances in your body, from the very top of your brain all the way down to the tips of your toes. Because of this extreme workload, the muscular wall of the left ventricle is structurally 2 to 4 times thicker than the right one. It's built for power. Now, with all that immense pressure, any backward flow of blood would be an absolute disaster. So the heart is equipped with heavy-duty doors, the valves. You've got the atrioventricular valves sitting between the atria and ventricles, and the semilunar valves guarding the exits into the major arteries. They snapshot to guarantee strictly one-way traffic. Fun fact, when a doctor listens to your chest with a stethoscope, that classic lub-dub sound of a heartbeat, you're actually hearing the sound of those exact valves snapping closed. Pretty cool, right? Section 4. The heart's electrical grid. Timing the perfect beat. Let's see how this all builds together. Your heart has specialized cells acting as an internal pacemaker, dictating the precise timing of every single beat. The electrical signal follows a very strict path. It starts up at the sinoatrial node, passes down to the atrioventricular node, travels down the bundle of His, and finally branches out through the Purkinje fibers. This perfectly timed sequence makes sure the atria contract first to fill the ventricles, and then, this is key, the ventricles contract from the bottom up to powerfully squeeze the blood out, kind of like rolling up a tube of toothpaste. Now, what's really interesting is exactly where this internal wiring lives within the heart muscle. Up in the top wall of the right atrium is the sinoatrial node. That's your spark plug that triggers the beat. The signal hits the atrioventricular junction, travels straight down the center septum, and then those Purkinje fibers wrap right around the thick ventricular walls, shocking the muscle into a perfectly coordinated, powerful squeeze. And there you have it. The fluid, the pipes, and the pump. It's a flawless 5.6-liter delivery loop that keeps every single cell in your body alive, perfectly timed by its own intricate electrical grid. It's a true engineering marvel. But like any complex infrastructure, it requires regular maintenance to prevent the highways from clogging and the pump from failing. Which leaves us with a vital question to ponder. Now that you understand the sheer brilliance of your internal city's infrastructure, how can you better protect and nourish it today? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.